Hi, I'm Mike.
Hey, I'm Kelsey. We're into telling you stories. Sometimes funny, sometimes awkward, sometimes creepy or sad, but who knows?
Every month it's different, but no matter what, you'll be asking yourself.
Okay, WTF?
Welcome, friends.
Hi.
Oh, hello.
Hey, you.
How you doing, Kelsey?
Do you want the honest answer?
Sure. I want everything honest.
Well, not doing so great, to be honest. I mean, okay, well, before I get into my not doing so great, what I will say is this is an episode, an interjection episode.
Yeah, we should explain that, I guess, starting. That this
Yeah.
would be like your normal episode with two deeply investigated and professionally and profoundly life-changing stories.
Totally.
With beautiful source material and art
Imagery and
imagery. This is going to be a little different. We're changing it up for the holiday season.
A holiday special, if you will.
Yes.
Yeah. And so we're going to be bringing to you something totally different. Essentially, it's a spin on I was today years old when. So it's a lighthearted. There's going to be no presentation associated with it. Just a good little conversation, a nice little holiday break episode. And then coming back in January in the new year, we'll be back to the normal episodes. But so that takes me to I'm not doing great. And I mean, you know, in the US, the Thanksgiving holiday just happened, and that was really nice. And then we had a very unexpected loss in my family the next day. My Uncle Kevin, who was just the force of a human, like just an incredible person. So I am so grateful to you, Mike, for one, letting me talk about him a little bit today, and also dedicating this episode to him and his just enormity and humanness.
Of course. I've met him a few times.
Yeah.
And from what I met of him, I can tell that you carry his spark forward. So I'm happy to be here with you, and I was happy to know him, and I'm happy to learn more about him through you.
I love it. And I mean, yeah. I'm constantly so grateful for the amount of time I had with him and my Aunt Em, and still get to have with my Aunt Em. And I'm so grateful for the number of friends he was able to meet and impact as well. I've had numerous people reach out to me about him. He was like very musically inclined, a master craftsman, just hilarious, such a funny person with the most unique humor. So yeah, it's an enormous loss. But I will also say that I am so grateful that 2 years ago I purchased him a Storyworth, not sponsored, subscription, and that he did it. Sometimes reluctantly, but he did it, and I will never not be happy that I did that, because now I have that to cherish, and I'm able to give that to family and friends now. And it just has so much of who he is in those pages. And his humor comes through. And even one of the things he talked about in that book was his favorite music.
Yeah.
And his favorite music is very eclectic. It's all over the place. Music was just such a big part of him. And so my partner, Patrick, put together from that list in the book, put together a Spotify playlist called Uncle Kev. Maybe we can add it to the notes.
I was about to say we should share it so everyone can listen. Yeah.
I agree. It's a great mix. I mean, I'm not able as of this recording to listen to it because I need to be in a different headspace too, but I will. But just knowing the songs that are on there, oh my gosh, so great. So I hope people listen. And even if you didn't know him, just, you know, think about someone you do know and love, share the playlist, enjoy it, expand your music taste. He would love that for you, because that's what he did. And yeah. Should I share my thing on work?
Yeah, I think that would be
great. His thing on. Okay. Before we kick this off, I mean, I'm constantly thinking about my relationship with work, and I feel like we all are in this interesting world we live in where so much of our life is focused on work. And, you know, I just I don't want to be a slave to work for my whole life. And I know that most people don't, not in that way. Not in
But
the
I do,
usual.
Kelsey.
No, you don't, you liar.
Oh, whoops! I got confused.
um, but one of the many things I loved about him was how he just lived his life and how he navigated like essentially a very corporate run capitalistic society, and he was able to kind of take control of what he wanted to do. I mean, very much supported by my aunt Em in that regard. But when I opened the book, the Storyworth book, I opened to the very end, and it made me laugh so hard because the question was, what is your best advice when it comes to work? And his response, I will read word for word, but it made me laugh so hard. And it also is just like so full of like advice behind the humor that, I hope it helps someone. So he said, my best advice about work, don't do it. If you have to do it, do as little of it as damn possible. If you have to do more than a little, do something you like because it doesn't get better with age. It gets harder. Don't just do something for the money because it will kill you and your spirit dead. There you go. Short and sweet. Now go get a damn job you love and stop whining. Uncle Kevin. We'll just kind of leave that there. And for now, thank you for letting me share and dedicating this to him.
Of course.
And I hope people listen to the music, but I think he would like this episode. I feel like it's full of just quirky things at this point. I chose 5. I was today years old when you chose 5.
I did.
So we're just gonna go back and forth like tennis here, just like
Sure.
popping them off to each other, sharing them. So do you want to start? I feel like I always start.
Sure, I'll start this one. Oh, let's see. Which one should I start with?
Ooh.
Oh, they're all over the place. Okay. I will start with this. I was today years old when I found out that there are 2 states in the United States that have official state toys.
What?
Yeah, no other states. 48 out of 50 said absolutely not. And the 2 that chose to have them, Kansas has the Etch-a-Sketch.
Oh.
And Mississippi, this is a weird one, claimed the teddy bear.
Ooh.
And I was kind of thinking, Mississippi, like, was there any like Theodore Roosevelt things with? Because that's like where the teddy bear came from. I feel like that's not. I don't know. I feel like Washington State or like California
or like Vermont
or Vermont,
the Burlington Bear Factory or whatever.
Yeah, would be the teddy bear. So then I started thinking, like, well, what if I had to guess for the other states?
What would they be?
What would they be? And I thought we could have a discussion about that.
Oh man. Okay. What about Maine, Mike?
Oh man, it's got to be like a moose of some kind, like a stuffed moose, or like I'm trying to think like a steak toy.
For Maine,
a lobster.
Yeah, an animal like or maybe it would a state toy.
Yeah,
toy.
I know.
Okay.
Toy.
I know like Vermont maybe would be like a Lego bridge.
Oh yeah.
You know how they have all like the bridges and stuff?
Yeah.
I'm focused on New England because this is where we hail from, but
well, it's where we're familiar with. Yeah, like a Lego covered bridge.
Yeah.
Or something like that. That would be cool.
New Hampshire would maybe be like the Woobles, I guess.
Yeah, maybe.
Just because it's like knitting, crocheting,
Yeah.
like quilting. It's all like that's very New Hampshire.
Live for your Woobles.
Yeah, live for your Wooble.
Massachusetts.
Oh man. What would we be? Like
I think it would be like something very It would be like a marble run or something like very
Ooh, interesting.
technical kind
Yeah.
of thing with like
I was thinking
chimes and
like a
stuff like that.
globe,
Ooh,
but
a
I
globe would be
think
cool.
I kind of feel like you're right, like a marble run would be really interesting.
Hmm.
Think about like MIT.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Or the Museum of
interesting.
Sciences, the
Yep.
big marble run that's in there is really cool.
Yeah. Huh. It's so interesting.
Yeah. So I that's one of the
Wow.
things. That's one
I
of the
had no
things.
idea.
And I
That's
would
so
love to
random.
hear from other audience members, like where you're
Mm-hmm.
from. What do you think your state should be and why?
Yeah.
Do you agree with Kansas having the Etch a Sketch? Weird.
That's so
And
funny.
Mississippi having the teddy bear? That seems wrong to me.
Yeah.
I think Mississippi was like, oh, Kansas chose one, so I'm gonna pick a really good one.
Was there no details at all on like what, like why
No,
they chose it? That's so
no,
weird. Huh. So many questions.
so many questions, no answers. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Can Massachusetts be a light bright?
Ooh. How come?
I don't know. It's very bright. The spirit of Massachusetts is the spirit of America,
Okay, that's
lighting it up,
legit.
kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Okay. I can
I
get
like
down with
that.
that.
I like that.
And plus, that's a cool toy.
Yeah, it is a cool toy. I want one.
Ah. Oh my gosh. So cool. Huh. Now I'm like all thinking about it, but
Maine would
that's
be a
so
Cabbage Patch
weird.
Kid.
Oh my gosh. I think you're right.
Of course it would. Maine would be a
That's
Cabbage Patch Kid.
so funny. Or like, yeah, yeah. The only other thing I think about Maine is LL Bean. So,
Yeah.
you know, oh man, wild, absolutely wild. Well, I have one to share with you.
Okay.
I was today years old when I realized or learned that a jiffy is an actual unit of time. It's equivalent to 1/100th of a second.
That's really quick.
I know, and I have some details for you.
Tell me.
So the term jiffy, it's kind of got an interesting, I guess, interesting history a little bit, but it was coined for physics. So it denoted initially the time it took for light to travel 1 centimeter into a vacuum. So,
Okay.
which I have as 33.3564 picoseconds or picoseconds, which is like really quick.
Mhm.
And then, of course, it became colloquially used. Well, I guess a physicist named Gilbert Newton Lewis in the early 20th century coined jiffy, but then now, of course, we just use it colloquially as meaning really fast. We're like, we'll be there in a jiffy, like a really quick period of time. But I thought it was just like something to do with peanut butter, or just like, or just like, I don't know, just a stupid term, a silly term that we, whatever. But now, because it's used so casually, but I had no idea that it was actually a scientific
Yeah.
thing.
No, that's pretty like it reminds me of a butt load is actually a unit of measurement.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, a butt. Isn't it for wine or
Yeah, I
something?
think it is. And I forget
Yeah,
like the
a
exact
butt.
amounts or something. I was like, a buttload?
Yeah,
Okay.
a buttload of wine.
Yeah. It's a lot of wine.
Oh, it is a lot of wine.
Can't get through that in a jiffy.
Oh,
Oh,
Mike, coming
I
in
used it in
hot.
a sentence.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Oh, what you got for me?
Okay, this one is weird.
Okay, perfect.
It is. It doesn't have anything to do with the Roman Empire. We're not going to do this whole thing.
Okay.
But it does have to do with like ancient Italian provinces like Pompeii and some
Okay.
other areas. It is an ancient charm, and I'm going to try and pronounce it correctly. It's tintinabulum.
Tintinabulum.
Tintinabulum, and
Hmm.
it is because they're in museums now. It's usually like made out of bronze or some kind of metal, and it's
Uh-oh.
basically just this little guy. Sometimes this little guy, but with the biggest package you've ever seen. And there's just a
An
crap.
anatomical package.
Oh,
No?
Not
Or whole
animatronic, like not to scale. Like the package is bigger than the man.
Oh my god, I'm sorry. I thought you were referencing like his package, and like I thought you were visually trying to say and so anyway, ignore me.
I mean, his penis is phallus.
Oh, you weren't talking about
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Okay, okay.
and it's just covered in bells, and basically
What?
people would hang them up in Pompeii and
Oh,
other areas around, like very very
okay.
ancient Italy, to ward off evil spirits.
Oh,
There are some that I saw, and if you want to Google this, safe search, whatever you gotta do, not safe for work kind of thing. But there are some that are just like the penises, the peni, but
what?
with wings on either side, like cupids that are trying to fly away, and they're just like there's like chains hanging with just a crap ton of bells. You got to look up a picture. It's phenomenal. Like I know where it comes from, like not so much the phallus thing, but like chimes historically and
Yeah.
ward off evil from many many different cultures. And I guess for some reason, someone was like, you know what this means? More manly manness. So
Oh man,
they chose
literally.
that literally. So feel free. That's my Christmas present or my holiday present.
What a present
to you.
Thank you so much. I will definitely safe search that.
Yes.
Not on my work computer.
Correct.
Oh, fascinating. I'm not sure that I would decorate with that, but I mean, to each their own.
It would be a centerpiece for sure. Like there's no way your eye would not catch it.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my goodness. I have one that has nothing to do with human anatomy.
Okay.
But more like Earth anatomy.
So geology or?
Yeah, kind of. I was today years old or recent years old when I learned that the world's largest desert is not the Sahara.
No.
It's Antarctica.
Yes.
You knew this?
Yes.
And you didn't tell me?
I'm sorry.
Obviously it seems counterintuitive. I'm looking, I am so lucky to have a photo shown to me right now of the imagery that Mike was just talking about that will be now burned in my brain.
Hold on, this one's better.
It's so aggressive. It's such an aggressive statue.
Oh, the blur is ruining it.
Oh,
but
I see it. I see it.
So much better. I apologize for interrupting.
No, please don't apologize. I'm just like, I won't unsee it now. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So be aware if you do decide to look for that, you will be overtaken by it.
And this is in memory of your uncle.
We love you, Uncle Kevin. He would laugh so hard at this. So,
okay. So Antarctica.
Yes. Largest desert, counterintuitive.
Mm-hmm.
You usually think about a desert as hot, arid, etc. But I didn't know this, but a desert is actually based on low precipitation rather than high temperatures.
Right.
So obviously, Antarctica gets less than 10 inches of rain a year. So very low precipitation. It has a cold climate, which typically we think about the desert, we think heat, but it's more about dryness than temperature. Yep. So obviously very dry, and that because of it's so cold, the air holds like really little moisture. So also there are two types of deserts. There's subtropical and polar. So we usually think sandy, hot.
Yeah.
But of course, polar deserts can also meet that criteria. So Antarctica is the largest polar desert. And it's just unique, I guess. That's part of it too, is like it's one of the harshest climates on the planet. And because it's so arid and it's got such an interesting landscape, it's also classified as a desert. So I thought that was fascinating.
It's so cool.
I'm upset you didn't tell me. I'm sure many people knew about this, but
now it was one of those things. I think I read it in a book somewhere where it's like, did you know?
I feel like you're gonna know my next one too. I'm nervous.
Probably not.
I'm nervous.
I'll do an aperitif with this one.
Okay.
Did you know, Kelsey? And you worked on a farm at your master's degree area.
Yes.
Did they have goats?
No, it was an organic fruit and vegetable farm.
Okay. Well, if they did have goats,
Yeah.
you might have heard that researchers almost a decade ago found that baby goats that were raised together in the same pen, develop accents similar to their peers. So they start out with their own like accent, and then they
Bah.
hear their peers bleeding, and they change their bleats to match theirs. So like this
Weird.
was done I think it was in England, and they measured like all across the UK and even in like America. They're like, no, that goat accent is way different than
What?
that goat accent. And I don't know. I guess I would have never thought to think about that.
Mm-mm.
But my niece, actually, who's about to be done with college, she just recently did a study about how birds have like vernacular. And so I kind of went down a rabbit hole of do other animals have it? And I found this goat one, and I found it fantastic.
That's interesting. And speaking of birds, did I tell you about the Substack called Screech of the Week?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, it's so fun. Anyway, I won't derail us with that. But yeah, animals are super interesting in that regard. Like communication style, people really just don't give them enough credit.
Exactly.
Really wild. Well, my next one, you're probably
Okay.
going to know this.
Oh man.
It's the anatomy of language here. Do you know what the little dot over the I and J is called? Yeah, you know.
I've heard it.
Yeah.
I can't remember it off the tip of my tongue. It's like on the tip of my tongue.
Well,
Please.
I was today years old, Mike, when I discovered the dot over an I or a J is called a tittle.
Yes, that's it. That's it. Yep.
And essentially what it means is a small distinguishing mark. Like, and it's associated with, writing systems. And it came about with Latin, predominantly the Latin alphabet. But it just means like the word tittle itself, etymology wise, comes from Old English, Middle English, and it just means a small stroke or a point in writing. And so it's been used as a diacritical mark essentially, or a small mark in lots of languages. But I just think it's funny.
It is hysterical. Here's a bonus point off of that point.
Yeah.
I learned last weekend that there are actual names for each. So we're doing this on Google Meet. Next to the hang up button, you see the 3 dots that are vertical.
Oh yeah. Don't tell me the kebab.
Kebab.
Yes.
Right. And there's another. It's like a burger.
The hamburger.
The hamburger.
Yep. So when I worked at McDonald's, how challenging was it to label the quote unquote hamburger menu when you were a hamburger company? Because it would also confuse someone who's using a screen reader to think that that was the actual hamburger menu. So you had to not name it that. So,
oh my God.
Yeah.
So what did you have to name it?
I think it was just menu. But I honestly don't remember. But I just things like that I think about where I'm like, oh my gosh. But yes, they have names.
It's amazing. I never knew that. I just used to call them ellipses because that's
an upside down ellipse. Yeah. There's another name for it too. The hamburger menu, the kebab, and then there's another one. If it comes to me, I will say it. But oh my gosh.
In the middle of the night, you'll just scream it out.
Yeah, and Pat's gonna be like, "Uh oh, what now, Kelsey?" What a journey! What a journey! It's been a week for him. I feel so bad, but now I'm gonna be screaming out food in the middle of the night, referencing technology. Nothing makes sense. Nothing's real.
Nothing's real. That sounds like fun to me. But what do I matter? I'll just scream eggnog in the middle of the night so you can feel better.
Cheers!
Eggnog.
My wine glass of eggnog right here accompanying me on this episode today.
My carafe of Diet Coke. It's actually just a can, but I want to be fancy.
You are fancy.
Okay, so that was 3 each. and a bonus one. So is
Yeah,
it back to me? Volley, it's
it's
badminton
back
back
to
to me.
you.
The birdies
Yeah, I
is
hit the
in my
ball right
court.
back to you.
All
It's
right.
on, yep, on your side.
Here's another animal one.
Oh
Oh my
no.
god, the last three are animal ones. Um,
Ooh,
okay. This is about ants. Uh,
okay.
so when we think about farming, agriculture, animal
Mm,
husbandry, we think, human, 12,000-ish years ago.
mm,
But did you know, Kelsey, that
probably
ants
not.
have been developing farming and animal husbandry techniques for around 6 million years?
I
Um,
did not know that.
yeah. So have you ever heard of
Tell me more.
a leaf cutter ant? Have you ever heard of them?
No.
Okay, so these are primarily dealing with ants that are in South America, so in the rainforest
Mm,
and stuff like that. Maybe some in Africa too. But they chop up like little pieces of leaf, and a lot of
mm.
people think that they just take the leaf back to their commune,
Their
and
earthly home.
so people just thought that that was like their food. No,
Mm.
what they do is they have developed and co-evolved with a specific type of fungus, and
What?
each ant colony has a different strain of this
Uh,
fungus, where they feed the leaf bits to the fungus, and what the ants
wha-
actually eat is the residue from the fungus. So
uh,
but the fungus itself can't survive without the ants bringing them, because they have been so far
okay.
removed from their environment. They're in like a closed, almost like a
Yeah.
vacuum now, where this is the only place this type of fungus can evolve. And it's kind of like, how families will share like sourdough starter. Um,
Yeah.
so when a new queen is born, she takes a bit of that fungus and goes to another colony, and like forms her own colony using a piece of that fungus and grows it from there.
What?
But you don't have to go terribly. You don't have to go to South America to see ants doing stuff like this. So animal husbandry, you can see it in your own backyard. If you
Uh,
have a problem in your flowers or plants with aphids,
mm,
a lot of times
mm,
you'll see ants like corralling them around and basically
mm-hmm.
moving them to certain areas for better feeding, because they sip
Huh.
on honeydew, which is a little like droplets
Mm.
that come out of the aphid's basically butt. So ants
Amazing.
ants drink butt juice, um,
Okay.
but apparently
Someone's
it's
got to,
really
I guess.
good. So, but I didn't know it was 60 million years ago, that they
Wow.
started co-evolving and developing these technologies. Um, so animals are incredible.
Yes,
Insects are
they
incredible.
really are. That's really weird and wild. I love that they're just like shrooming out though.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Wow. Ugh. I'm learning all the today years old. I don't know the ones that you're telling, and so I'm learning something. But I would like to tell you,
Uh-oh.
unless you know this already, which you probably
No.
do. I was today years old when I found out that the shortest war in history was between Britain and Zanzibar. Did you know this? Oh, Michael.
Is this the one where they basically stayed like just outside of their firing range because Zanzibar couldn't send their missiles far enough away from where the British fleet was? Or was that a different one that I'm thinking about?
It it might be different because I didn't see that part of it, or maybe that was part of it, but the reason behind it was something I learned. But it was essentially, it happened in 1896 and the war itself lasted 38 minutes.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is a
So
different one.
shortest.
Yeah, this is a different
Okay. It's known as the Anglo-Zanzibar War. August 27th, 1896, between the UK and the Sultanate of Zanzibar. It basically, like, there was, how do I explain this? Zanzibar wanted to, well, there's a succession dispute, I guess we'll put it that way. And there's a pro-British sultan initially as part of Zanzibar who passed away, and then the successor to the one who passed away refused to recognize, any British supported candidates or British in general. And so it led to this conflict. And there was an ultimatum for this guy to step down. The ultimatum passed. They didn't comply. The new Zanzibar person didn't step down. And so the British obviously took action. So it was like 9 a.m., I guess. British warships showed up, began bombarding the Sultan's palace. And, we're there to confront Zanzibar's forces. But the fighting just was 38 minutes because it was so brief. And the British forces overwhelmed Zanzibar's, at the time, very poorly equipped and outnumbered defenders. So the Khalid, the successor, took refuge in a consulate and ultimately just ended the war because Britain still reigned over Zanzibar, which is,
Great.
is what it is. But it eventually did gain independence. I mean, much later. So Zanzibar, the island itself, in 1963 got independence. But it was clearly like a very strange historical event. 38 minutes. Wild. I had no idea. I assume wars last a long time.
Yeah, for something to seem to be declared a war, it seems like it needs to last like months to a year or more.
Yeah. I feel like this would be aptly, appropriately named like a conflict. I'm not sure. Yeah. But I'd never heard about it before, so I thought that was really interesting. Yeah. So the Anglo-Zanzibar War of, what was it, 1896?
Very good.
You're welcome.
When I think of Zanzibar, I can't help but think of Tenacious D.
Tenacious D?
Yeah.
I don't know. Tell me.
Jack Black, the actor, he's in a band with Kyle Goss. The name is Tenacious D. There's a song that we can't play because it's explicit. But one of the lyrics is, "I'm not going to cook it, but I'll order it from Zanzibar." That's all I can think about. So
interesting. What was it? What were they trying to cook? Is it bad? It's okay.
No, it's not bad. It's just about two people who love each other very much.
Okay. Say no more, Michael.
Together, kind of thing. and the male partner or this partner is just very excited and is happy to do whatever, if that includes cooking or getting your favorite meal before anything happens. Okay. They may or may not cook it, but they definitely will order it from Zanzibar.
Thank you for that explanation, Mike. That very PG explanation.
Yes. Yes. They're just wrestling.
I'm dying. Okay.
So for my last one, I actually have to blame you.
Okay, I'm scared.
Because it has to do with one of our previous episodes, or it's like it's related to
about
one
animals.
Of our previous. Yes. So it's kind of like a Venn diagram of a perfect storm for me, which is knowledge I just gained and also culture and folkloric things that happen together. So have you ever heard of a Welsh tradition called the Mari Lwyd? And it's people don't know where it really got its start. It became super popular in the 18th and 19th century. And it's really popular in southern Wales. Basically, what happens is around this time of year, so traditionally around like Christmas time, New Year's Eve, the colder months, for about a 2 or up to 6 week period, there are a group of men. This sounds terrible, but it's actually not that bad. One dresses up very fancy like. One might dress up as a character named Judy.
Okay.
One like dress up as I forget what the other name of the character is, but basically they like we're little scamps and we're going to cause problems. And then one person is dressed up like covered in a sheet. Usually it's white, and
Okay.
they have a pole, and on this pole is mounted a skull of a horse, and it's usually like with a veil,
And
and it
all the flowers.
flowers, and it has the
Mm-hmm.
bells and streamers.
Yep.
So it's a wassailing tradition. So they go
Interesting.
around to people's houses, um, and it's like it's a really interesting call and response kind of thing where um, basically they go around, and because of the bells and the jingling, and usually they're pretty drunk or raucous,
Yeah.
that's kind of the goal. The people inside the house can hear them coming, so they start singing a particular verse, being like, "Oh no, did you lock
And
the
here they
doors, close the
are.
windows, because here they come." I'll share a link to there's a BBC video of the like
Please do.
1960s of a traditional one, um, and it's pretty tame, but you apparently they get like really out of hand, so it can go on for like hours of.
Oh my gosh.
So the house will sing and basically saying like you're not getting in here, and then the group of men will be like will sing in response like give us food, we want drink, and it's just like back and forth and back and forth and
What?
back and forth. And then once the house has no more responses to sing, then they have to open the doors and let them in, give them food, drink, and when they're inside, they do like this. The horse, which is the Mary Lloyd, does this like weird dance like throughout the house. The Judy character like uh, puts out the fire and just like cleans the hearth, and it's some kind of like fertility dances is where it
Okay.
kind of gets into, but they're trying to like they scare the adults and the children, but it's all in good fun kind of thing.
Hmm.
It's kind of like blessing the house for the new year, and
What?
there is such there's a debate about like does this come from ancient like Celtic um,
Mm.
Welsh traditions, or does this have anything to do with like the Virgin Mary because it's Mary Lloyd?
Mm-hmm.
But both of them are kind of like, no, it's not. No, it's not. So it's kind of like a mixture of both that came together, and it's really only in southern Wales, and it follows um, wherever there were mines, like coal mines or any other type of
Huh.
minerals, wherever those were, that's where these traditions pop up. But there are other traditions in throughout the UK, not
Mm-hmm.
of Mary Lloyd. That is a very Welsh tradition, but there's one called Obby Os, which
Oh.
is basically hobby horse, but without the H's.
Uh,
And it's in southeast England, I want to say, and they do
hmm.
basically the same thing, but it's a goat instead of a horse, and they go around.
Okay.
So I all I could think about was like these damn hobby horses.
Yes, it's basically that. Oh, and the follow-up to that.
Oh no,
Remember how I was like, I know I had a hobby horse?
yeah.
Okay. Its name was Buster. My
Oh my
mom
god,
made it. I did, in
amazing.
fact, have it. It was exactly as described. It lived in my house for a very long time, but it no longer lives there, which is so sad. It is gone. Um, but
Gone but
there are
not
probably,
forgotten.
yes, gone but not forgotten. I remember it very vividly, and I know my mom is going to look for pictures.
When
Anyway,
we
I didn't
get
mean to
them,
interrupt you, but I thought of it.
no, when we get them, we need to update
Oh
things.
yeah, we
Yeah,
will. And rest in peace, Buster.
rest in
My
peace.
mom worked really hard on that. Love you, Mom. But man, yeah. So that's wild though. Does it still happen today? Or are you saying
Yeah,
like this? Oh
no, it still
wow.
happens. There was like the
Huh.
biggest ever gathering in the year
Oh,
2000, but it still happens to this day.
they're
I
like
want to
Y2K.
find, I want to, yeah, I want to find more modern versions because apparently that's
Mm-hmm.
when like people are like, woo, crazy.
lose their mind.
The BBC one is like, hello, we're Welsh, and we're doing this very traditional thing.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Oh, please send that to me though. And
Yes.
then we have to find out where this is happening and if it is. So
we'll need to
bizarre.
travel to South Wales.
I will. I'll do an Airbnb and hopefully just didn't pray that they arrive.
Perfect.
And I'll just be shouting things at them because I don't know what to say. They will have to accept it.
I don't know Welsh, so I apologize if I mispronounced even Marie Lloyd. But I was on like the how do you pronounce website, and I watched like YouTube videos trying to absorb it today, this morning, since I only found out about it last night.
Oh
I'd seen the term before, but I didn't really know what it meant. And I'd seen like the face of the horse skull before. Really sure.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
So wild. Well, my last one is not as interesting, and I 100% know you're going to know this one. Pat knew this one.
I'll pretend.
No, don't pretend. I'll see right through you. It's just how little knowledge I have comparatively, but here we are. I was yesterday years old when I discovered that there are more possible iterations of a game of chess than there are atoms in the observable universe.
I did not know that.
You didn't know this? Okay.
I truly did not know that.
It's related to something called the Shannon number, which someone named Claude Shannon estimated the complexity of chess, like essentially made a game tree estimate of the game of chess. And he himself was a mathematician and an electrical engineer. I thought it was really interesting, but he was known as the father of modern digital communication and information theory, which was fascinating. But so the Shannon number, which is named after him, obviously represents the maximum number of possible chess games. And it's an estimation based on a calculation of the average branching factor, or essentially the average number of legal moves per position on the chessboard, and an average of the game length itself. So the exact value of this number is not fixed, and it could be based, subject to change based on like new algorithms. Like if suddenly the averages changed or something, like suddenly the game became X number of hours longer or something. But it's an astronomical figure. So I do not know how to say this number because it's so big that it can't be said like a normal number. It's like in like math visuals, so maybe we just post it. But essentially it's slash parentheses 10 to the fancy parentheses 120th end fancy parentheses slash end parentheses, and that number is pretty big. So it's basically impossible to compute or analyze every possible move and position within the game. But I guess all I have to say, there are infinite, vast possibilities for the game of chess, and apparently more than the observable number of number of atoms in the observable universe.
That's insane.
Wild. I know. You didn't know this?
No, I didn't know that.
Well, now you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really fascinating. I mean, you gave us 2 extra ones. I only had 5. You gave us 5 plus 2 bonus.
They were bonus. They were point. They were slash parentheses 0.0
to the 2 millionth fancy
bracket 0.
Yeah, what is the fancy bracket called? I'd be today years old when I.
Are you talking about the Alfred Hitchcock bracket, or the?
Is that the one? I was talking about the one with like the little loop.
Yeah, I call them Alfred Hitchcocks, but they're probably not correct.
I mean, why do you call it that?
So Alfred Hitchcock movies, in the beginning, they usually show like a silhouette of his face. He's got a very like noticeable silhouette, and it kind of follows the curvature of those brackets. Yeah.
Interesting. I love that. I was 2 years old when, but
yeah,
it's fine. Well, I mean, this was a fun episode to do. Nice little holiday adventure here.
Very, very fun, festive holiday adventure.
Festive. We needed to do
Festive.
something different. Maybe we'll do mini episodes focused on I was today years old when, because I feel like I'm constantly learning just bizarre things. Um,
Yeah, it happens in the course of us doing our regular shows.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm going to keep falling down this rabbit hole. And then
yeah. And then it
I
takes
don't know
you
what to do with that information. I just put it over
Yeah.
to the side. Like, I'll get to
Yeah.
there eventually.
Someday I'll come back to this or need this. And
Mhm.
here's when, Mike.
Yay.
But I mean, if you liked this, tell us. Tell us where though, Mike. Where can people find us?
People could find us if they're going to like social media. They could find us at OKWTF Podcast, at all of the major social media networks, except for Threads and X/Twitter, because
And
why?
not Facebook. No
And not
Facebook for
Facebook.
us.
Yeah.
So
Why?
basically Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, right?
Yeah. So
Sad.
that's what I said. That's more condensed than what I said. They could also go to www.okwtfpodcast.com and find out some information there.
Sweet. Our RSS feed is there if you're not a podcaster on a traditional platform. So you can find that. And you can also just tell us you were 2 years old when. Submit something to us. Let us know. Send us an email at hello@okwtfpodcast.com. And we're just so grateful that you're listening. And we hope that you have happy, healthy holiday season, or that if you're having a grief-filled holiday season, that you are surrounded by people and things and whatever that you love, and that you go outside and stand in the sun, hug a human, look at a plant, pet a cat, whatever feels good. But I'm just lucky to have amazing friends like Mike and Amber and all the people. So thank you, Mike, for this joyous moment in time.
We are happy to be here, and thank you for being in our lives.
And thank you, Uncle Kevin.
Thank
we
you.
love you. Yeah. Until next time.
We'll see you around.
Lady, are you crying? Do the tears belong to me? Did you think our time together was all gone? Lady, you've been dreaming. I'm as close as I can be, and I swear to you our time has just begun. Close your eyes and rest your weary mind. I promise I will stay right here beside you. Today our lives were joined, became entwined. I wish that you could know how much I love you. Lady, are you happy? Do you feel the way I do? Are there meanings that you've never seen before? Lady, my sweet lady, I just can't believe that's true. And it's like I've never ever loved before. Close your eyes and rest your weary mind. I promise I will stay right here beside you. The day our lives were joined became entwined. I wish that you could know how much I love you. Lady, are you crying? Do the tears belong to me? Did you think our time together was all gone? Lady, my sweet lady, I'm as close as I can be, and I swear to you our time has just begun. And I swear to you our time has just